Hi everyone, I'm Savannah Fahey. I'm currently a senior in the Nutrition and Dietetics program at UNF. So for my individual PowerPoint presentation, I selected the article titled The Bradley Effect, Mediated Reality of Race and Politics in the 2008 U.S. Presidential Election. I originally wanted to select an article from Chapter 14 because it was regarding media, and as a future registered dietitian, the media is filled with misinformation regarding nutrition. So it is up to me as a healthcare professional to educate people on how to determine what is fact versus what is fiction in regards to what the media is saying. So I selected this article because it involves controversy over race and the outcome of elections. I found this topic very interesting and wanted to learn more because I feel that we are in a time where different races are going to be more present and involved in large-scale government elections. The article was written by J. Gregory Payne and was published by the 2010 Sage Publications. And the main idea of this article is to educate people about the Bradley effect and how it was used in different elections and its effect on voters, the press, and the dynamic of the campaign. Okay, so let's talk about agenda setting. The actual definition of agenda setting is a theory in mass communication that states that the media have the ability to determine which issues are important to the public. So how does this affect the Bradley effect? Race can be brought into the campaign, and the media can decide how they will present the topic of race to the public. So how they present it can influence what the public is thinking about, and it will influence their thoughts by focusing more on race rather than actual debatable government issues that then the public will overlook. This can be the reason why the Bradley effect occurs. And it also has to do with social acceptability. So because the public thinks supporting someone of a different race is the socially acceptable thing to do, they will state that they are voting for this individual, although behind the scenes, when it comes to voting, they will not follow through with what they said because they only said it to be socially acceptable. So the author's supporting details. So when talking about the Bradley effect in the 1982 election, the author made a point that Tom Bradley lost the election for the California governor position for other reasons that weren't associated with his race. So there was a gun initiative that Bradley endorsed, which supported the concept of all gun owners being required to register their guns. And according to his campaign manager, this endorsement cost him the election because that's not what the public wanted. The author mentioned several times the weight that the media holds over how they influence the public. So one of our vocab terms for Chapter 14 is media bias. This can occur when a specific news station or publisher is slanted towards a specific political party or towards a specific candidate. So these slanted networks have the ability to display a candidate in a way that may not be true. So this can exemplify the Bradley effect if the opposing candidate happens to be of a different race and the media chooses to exemplify that. Another term, leaking, is when media leaks or reveals something that the viewers didn't know, and it's displayed in a way that seems like it's almost secretive. So leaking can actually change the Bradley effect by focusing the media topics more on debatable issues rather than just focusing the media solely on race. But leaking could also be used as a distracting measure for a very specific debatable argument that's going on by bringing to light the fact that the two candidates are of different races. Another term called sound bites can be used to the candidate's advantage. They can use this to give themselves a type of trademark almost, or a slogan that they say where people can identify as being associated with this candidate. This can give a feeling of connection despite the differences that may be present between the candidate and citizens on things like race or religion and whatnot. So like I just previously mentioned, when talking about leaking, race can be used as a distracting technique. And the author actually said, in American politics, race is always present, and they're like a low hum in our culture that can turn into a loud, distracting noise as a result of increased media or campaign operative attention is race. So there will always be talk about differences in race just because it is so easily used as a distracting tool. Alright, so do I agree or disagree with the author's perspective on the Bradley effect topic? I would say I definitely agree. I agree that the Bradley effect was present and probably will be present in elections where there are several people of different races running for office. In a country like America, where there's a melting pot of people, cultures, religions, ethnicities, skin colors, and whatnot, there will always be talk about these differences, especially when they're put up against each other. I agree with the author that the media plays a huge role on influencing what the voters are considering to be the most important topics and issues to discuss during the election period that I previously mentioned in the last slide. So what's the takeaway from all of this? The biggest takeaway about the Bradley effect is that it does exist. However, race is not the only reason for the election outcomes. There is so much more that goes into it, like the person's stance on specific political issues that override their race. So that is definitely the biggest takeaway from this article. However, the Bradley effect will exist when there are different races or cultures or whatnot, just because it's an easy, distracting tool to use in the media. Okay, thank you very much for listening.